Hello, and welcome to day one of Activating Shakti. So this is a 3-day training with me, and I'll be coming live here every day around 12:12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. In the guide section, you will find the workbook that goes along with each one of these days, and it will be posted each morning of the training day. So let's dive right in. And I want to welcome some of you who have never done a training with me before to the group. And I would love introductions if you feel up to it. And that's for anyone, if you've been here before or if you're new to the group. And so let's start with, in my introduction, gosh, I don't like this. The lighting is not good right now, but that's okay. Okay, so my name is Abigail Varela. If you're here, Facebook's so strange. I can't see who's here. So if you're here, say hi in the comments so I know you're here. If you watch the playback, you can hashtag replay so that I know you're here and I can say hello back. It's always fun. And yeah, I wanted to start with a little introduction. So my name is Abigail Varela. I'm an astrologer. I'm an energetic alignment coach, and I work in the metaphysical realm. Not everything I do is characteristic of Shakti. Like when I'm doing chart readings, she doesn't always come up. But what I notice overall as a theme of my business is that Shakti's in all of it. She's alive and active in all of it. And in this past year in particular, hello. In this last year in particular, she has made herself a bigger part of my business. And so some of you are in Activate Shakti, which is a 12-month journey. I think it was actually 13 months because we started in December. A 13-month journey with me through these different themes of Shakti. And one of the coolest things that came through recently is that I'm meant to take those 13 themes, and I'm creating a mastermind that's starting this August. So I will talk a little bit about that later, but I won't talk about it right now. And so I've been working with Shakti forever, as many of us have, but maybe not aware of it, maybe not so much aware of it. And one of the biggest realizations that I had was, I think I was around 31, now I'm 40, so this was like 9 years ago, 10 years ago, something like that, where my mother had terminal cancer, and I was just stepping into this energetic alignment work. I had been doing astrology, I had been doing birth work, but about 10 years ago is when I stepped into this a little bit more. And my mother she had terminal cancer, and it was about a month before she passed, and we knew it was getting towards the end of her journey. And I sat with her on her bed, and I walked her through the energetic work that I had been doing for others. Hi, if you're just joining, and just telling a little bit of my backstory. So I sat at the foot of her bed, and I walked her through this energetic alignment work that I do. And it was very powerful, and what came through, hi Cynthia, oh, 2 Cynthias here. What came through very strongly for her in leaving her body was this really important piece where she needed to know that her feminine power was going with her. And so we went and we located, and this was all not at the conscious level. This was not like something we were talking about. It was like at the energetic level, I recognized that that's what she needed to know in order to go in peace. And so we found this, this matching picture for her of this feminine power for her when she was around 40, and she was able to align with that and know and feel that in her visual, in her body. And that is what allowed her to have peace in her passing. Of course, it's always a hard journey when you're leaving behind kids and grandkids, right? But this part of it, what came through for me from that experience was Shakti. That is Shakti. And so now, as I have reached my 40th year, what is coming in very strongly is that this is what it's all about for me in my life's work, is realigning women in particular, but men too, realigning women with their Shakti, with their feminine power. It's within you, it's there, it's been there, it wants to be seen more, it wants to be acknowledged more, but it's there. And So that's my backstory. I want to talk a little bit about Shakti because I think, especially in the New Age community, people get a little confused about what feminine and masculine looks like and where Shakti fits into all of that, because Shakti is the yoking together of some of the masculine and some of the feminine. But I think many people are surprised that it is inherently feminine, a feminine quality to be wild, to be energetic, to emote, to have this light and this shimmer and this radiance. Now, with that comes with the wildness. And I think this is where people get confused about what feminine looks like. Feminine is so many things, but the feminine is the subconscious mind. It's anything below the surface of our conscious mind. And that makes up anywhere from 90 to 95% of our brain is the feminine brain. So all humans, regardless of what gender they are, have 90 to 95% of their brain is the feminine brain. The conscious 5 to 10% of the brain is the masculine brain, which is logical. Doesn't understand why, if you have a plan and you have goals, why you aren't just doing them. And this is where, you can get hard on yourself and you're actually battling against your inner feminine. So the feminine is the deep, dark, below the surface, the mystery, the juiciness, the desires. And the conscious part of the brain is the logical, the goals, the action, the presence, the holding space. And when you have a healthy balance with your masculine and feminine, to me, this is the Shakti. When we can really allow and hold space for our feminine to shine, that is the Shakti. So Shakti is the feminine power. I often associate lava, and if you've ever been to the Big Island in Hawaii, Pele Mama, with the Shakti. Shakti is shocking. It is animated. It is wild. It is uninhibited. It is messy. Me and my child were just having a talk about this yesterday, and I was apologizing because I was doing something and I was apologizing, and he's like, Mom, everything is messy. And I'm like, you're right. I'm teaching about this tomorrow, and here I am apologizing for being it. And it's so easy for us to do because that's the conscious part of our brain that wants to criticize, wants to control, wants to judge, wants things to be a certain way for our people, for our friends, for our kids, And so the Shakti is really making peace with all of that. And the Shakti is the feminine power which ignites the world. It awakens the world. And so if you can think in your history here of being out in the world or meeting a new friend, specifically a woman, men have this too, but specifically a woman, being out in the world and recognizing this tangible, energetic, kind of fiery energy within another human, within another feminine, and how magnetic that truly is. That is the Shakti. That is just the uninhibited part of us. So for today, in your worksheets, you'll see different worksheets that go along with this. And one of the main ones that I want to talk about is understanding that our desires are the first base. Pretty much anything comes back to, what do you want? What do you desire? And that can be really difficult. That can be really difficult for women to get in touch with. And I want to give you a historical perspective. I want to give you kind of a DNA perspective. Women, specifically women, but also I'm sure men too, if you look back at the history of humans, women that were in touch with their desires in the history of women were seen as prostitutes. We're seen as wild. We're often sent to special homes or shunned from family. Women that were in touch with their desires were not accepted by society. So if you struggle with knowing what you want, or you struggle with knowing what you desire, it is simply the conditioning and the state of the world, right? What we're graduating from. And the more you as a woman get in touch with your desires, the more you as a woman get more uninhibited, the more that ripples out to everyone around you, and it frees and awakens those around you. This is the medicine of Shakti. And it's easier said than done, because we can think, oh yeah, like I don't want to be like that, so I'm just going to get in touch with my desires. But there are things that get in your way. And so these steps that I've kind of mapped out through this training, they don't all happen in order all the time. But typically what we see happening is someone has a desire, and I see this all the time when people do one-on-one work with me. They have a desire, they come to me. We confront, so that's the next step. We confront it and illuminate it. And this is where just the act of holding space is a masculine principle, but it is part of the illumination process, which we're going to get to in a minute. And then from that place, typically, what someone will experience is another confrontation after our time together. That I often call the healing hangover, or an integration hangover, where they are unsure of how to integrate, and so it can kind of be jarring what they confronted during our session and what was illuminated to get them to that next expansion and ecstasy point. So this is a natural process, but if you're not aware of it, it can feel like when you get healing work done, or when you work with a coach, or when you do a specific class or any kind of your own inner work, it can often feel uncomfortable and like, oh, maybe I wasn't ready for that, or maybe I shouldn't have done that. And that's normal and natural. But I want to give you some framework so that you can, instead of kind of like pulling out of it and like avoiding doing the work, you have a framework to keep going and know that you'll get to the next place, and the next place you'll move through. And so when we talk about this Shakti energy, Shakti is the dynamic energy. She's the animated energy. And what's it the opposite of that is static or stagnant energy. And this often comes up in working with the feminine, where women and men are afraid of getting in touch with their emotions because they're afraid of getting stuck there. And I want to just reaffirm the opposite is true. Having a framework for this feminine process and getting to your feminine power is the way to continue with the work and open more to it. The feminine is not stagnant. The feminine is not static, and therefore she cannot get stuck anywhere. The only way she gets stuck somewhere is by not having that healthy balance of the masculine and feminine. So if there's no space being held for the emotions, if there's no place to kind of feel through something and no one to hold space for you, or you can't hold space for yourself in that, then yeah, sure, you can get stuck, but that is not feminine. That is masculine. That's damming up. That's armoring up. That's holding tension, right? And so the feminine is the movement, the flow, and sure, things come up, but we can move through them just as quickly. And this goes into one of the courses that I teach, or it's a workshop, Get Your Creative Juices Flowing. It's like there's these feminine creation, destruction things that happen, and they happen through our own cycle each month. But we've been taught and conditioned to not look at it that way, to not look at it as a positive thing, to look at it as a negative thing. So as we're moving through these each day, sorry, my nose, I've been having allergies. My nose is super itchy today. As you're moving through these, I would love to hear back like what you're noticing and what's coming up for you. So you're welcome to type in the chat if you have any questions or things coming up. So I want to go through each one of these because I kind of did a little bit, but I'm going to go through each one. And like I said, they don't all happen in order all the time. But typically we have a desire that requires us to confront something, and this confrontation, either a lot of times it can be in our exterior world, right? Like somebody challenges us. We say we want something and somebody challenges us, and we're like, oh, okay, is this, this is a test? This is the universe testing me. It's like, no, your subconscious is testing you. So this confrontation is a very important piece of this evolutionary process of the feminine. And if we can learn to see it that way, everything shifts. We can celebrate our challenges, our confrontations, right? That confrontation brings illumination, because when we get triggered, when someone else triggers us, or we ourselves are triggered, it asks us, if we can, to hold space for what is under the surface that wants illumination. So this can be inner child's memory. In my work, it can be a past life memory. It can be something so deep in your DNA. It can be something that your family lineage carried. And so we always want to ask, when that thing is getting illuminated, is this mine? Is this even mine? And if the answer is no, that makes it really quick to shift the energy. Typically, though, some piece of it will be yours if it's triggering and if it's confronting. Not always. Sometimes it can be your great-grandfather's, but typically it does have some root with you too. So from that illumination, we can integrate, we can understand, we can understand, and that frees our consciousness so much. That frees that shadow, that sabotaging nature that we just tend to have as humans. It soothes it. It kind of lulls it back to sleep. It's not like those aspects of you. What I should say is, we always have a shadow. We always have a sabotager, if that's how you say that. But we don't want them driving the car. And they can be driving the car when we're not aware of them, which is very crazy to think about, right? But it's true. When we're aware of them, we can be like, oh, little so-and-so, like, I see you, I love you, now get in the back seat. Adult me's driving, right? So it's that awareness to be able to take the wheel as the conscious adult self, right? And it doesn't mean that those other versions of us aren't important. They actually really are. It just means that they don't get to drive. So the integration is really, really important. And that is where we expand. We expand more into our awareness. The way I was taught, my teacher always used to say, the healing process is really just the awareness. When we have the awareness, it just like shifts everything. And this awareness can only come from confrontation and illumination. And that confrontation and illumination can only really come from having a desire. If we don't have desires, we're literally walking around kind of numb, and that doesn't make us want to grow. That doesn't get us into the growth mindset or the growth embodiment, right? The expansion. We're not really expanding. We're just kind of coasting. And that's not what this training is all about. If you're all about that, this is not the training for you, right? This is about living the big life. This is about really having the juicy life and wanting to have the juicy life and wanting to confront the things that keep us from having a juicy life. So this is what Activate Shakti is all about. And once we get to that expansion, then we get to that ecstasy. And ecstasy is another thing that historically women have been institutionalized for, have been shunned for, have had, the word hysterectomy is literally in hysteria, what they used to call women, and then they would remove their uterus. Like, it is ingrained in our human history, these things. So even if it's not at a conscious level, being in a state of ecstasy might be a really uncomfortable place for you to live from. Right? So we want to be aware of the things that judge us or want to criticize ourselves around being in that state of bliss, being in that state of ecstasy, because when we do, then we're freed up to be there more of the time. And that's ultimately a really beautiful thing, right? It's not like we're not going to have pain. It's not like we're not going to have confrontation. It's not like we're not going to have growth periods that are very, very uncomfortable. But if those aren't balanced with our bliss and our ecstasy and our celebration and our love and our awareness and the celebration of new awarenesses, if that's not matched together, right, there's nothing driving us to keep going. So it's very important to acknowledge and be in that energy of ecstasy when it arises. This is it for me. Just even being able to pick flowers from my backyard and smell them, for me, that is a state of ecstasy. It doesn't have to be a big thing. In Tantra, Tantra literally is about making love to everything. Like when you smell the flower, like when you wake up in the morning and you stretch, making love to your body, making love to the stretch, breathing into the awareness of what is. And a lot of people get it twisted around what Tantra is, but it actually is just being so present in a moment that you're literally making love to the moment. How beautiful is that? That's Shakti. So that all being said, I want to really kind of affirm for you, if this process and these things are kind of overwhelming or like, what is she talking about? That's okay. We're only at day one. So you can kind of set some things aside, and when each day it's going to build on each other, so you'll have more awareness of what maybe is coming through for you around activating Shakti in your own life. But for now, I don't know if I can see comments, but if you want to try to type into the comment, like if this is landing, how this is feeling for you, I would love to hear about that. So a great place to start with this work is really looking at your own inner masculine, your own inner feminine, and where you have been in the lower aspect of the feminine and the lower aspect of the masculine. And when you've been in the higher aspect, the higher realms of the feminine, hi Kendra, the higher aspects of the feminine, the higher aspects of the masculine. We all have all. We all have all. Yay! I'm so glad you're here, Rachel. Valerie, spot on. I love it. Okay. So we all have this higher version masculine, lower version masculine. However, when we don't have healthy balance with both, we will utilize our lower level masculine to keep our feminine down. What this looks like, again, is overthinking, over logicalizing, I don't even know if that's a word, things, over judgmentalizing ourselves, shoulding ourselves, right? These are all the conditions of the lower masculine. This is where our world is stuck. This is where our world is stuck, right? The higher version of the masculine is holding sacred space, grounding, presence, consciousness, breath, stability, fortitude, divine action. Those are the higher aspects of the masculine. And so when we're in, I bet I'm allergic to the flowers. No! I was just like, wait, I moved them a little closer and my body just like, the itchiness is moving up here. I'm gonna have to move you away. They smell so good too. That's why I'm itching. I'm like, why am I itching my nose so much? Okay, so when we can get into our higher state of masculine, that's when we can make space for this Shakti to truly shine. Because ultimately, our higher self masculine will not judge our free, wild, uninhibited feminine. And so I feel like, Kendra, this comes up on a lot of my training, like just the ones I do, like the free trainings on Facebook, because I just had like a deja vu to like another, I think it was like last spring I was teaching and I was having the same thing happen. So I'm always like, oh, I'll put in some flowers to bring up the vibe. Anywho, so it requires our awareness and graduation from our lower level masculine, which can still be there. It's never going to go away. We're going to always still want to judge things or criticize things in ourselves or in others. It doesn't go away. But when we are in conscious awareness of what it looks like when we're in our higher state masculine, we just won't go there as much. We won't hold ourselves back and we won't hold others back as much, and when we're aware of that. So the lower state feminine wants to be affirmed by the masculine, wants to be validated by the masculine, wants to be seen, wants to be led by the masculine. Both the higher and the lower can have this, right? And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be led. It's that neediness. It's the attachment. And the lower state feminine is also can be so much in the feelings that they can sabotage and they can stay stuck places. So the higher state feminine is all about allowing for ourselves to be in a state of love. And to be in a state of love requires vulnerability, openness, right? Of being in touch with our feelings, our emotions, all of these things. And one of the things we talk about in Activate Shakti, the year-long program, and we're going to talk in depth about in the mastermind, is the difference between doing things out of a state of love, the higher aspect of the feminine, versus doing something for the love. And this is a great question to ask yourself before you put out any kind of post on social media or call a friend, or just asking ourselves, getting really honest and true in ourselves of, am I doing this for the love or am I doing this out of love? Am I bringing my friend soup when I have a crazy busy day out of a place of love, which is beautiful and great, or am I doing it for the love, which is not great, and it's going to carry that vibration to it, which puts you in a lower state of the feminine? Does this make sense? Asking yourself and choosing to do things from a place of love versus out of a need for the love. And this is where so many women get stuck in their life. And honestly, I would say maybe even don't fully reach a state of full womanhood, which sounds kind of mean, but it's true. Kind of always kind of being that little girl, like not sure of themselves and wanting to be affirmed and told they're doing the right thing, right? That's not the energy that we want to be in to make a change in the world, right? And so, yay, I'm glad it's making sense to you all, because I'm kind of like, am I making sense? And I'm just like itching my nose. So our big work here, like basically activating Shakti, embodying Shakti, which is my one-on-one coaching, 6-month coaching opportunity. So embodying Shakti, getting Shaktified, which is the mastermind. So I have all this stuff in the workbook. Today only is a 30% offer for if you know you want to jump into 6-month container one-on-one with me and be in the group mastermind and get access to all of my courses. I have a 30% off offer. And then until June 13th, I have a special offer for the mastermind. So it's a group mastermind. It's running from August 26th to December 9th. It's starting off on the Big Island with Pele energy. Very excited about that. So it's going to be Shaktified with that to start, which is amazing. And I hope to see some of you in there. There are 8 spots available for that. So that all being said, this is only really for the women. There are women that are totally at peace in their feminine that are not about the Shakti energy. That's beautiful, wonderful. We need that. However, this is all for the women who have the Shakti, who have the masculine and the feminine, and they are wanting to do things from a place of love. They're wanting to do things from a place of love, and they're wanting to leave a legacy here. That's the difference. Shakti energy, it awakens, it activates people. It's not meant to be at home in the garden with a partner all the time, nonstop. That's all you're doing. Like I thought when I had kids, I'm like, oh yeah, I can try being a stay-at-home mom. And some women can, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful. This is not really for that type of woman. This is for the dynamic feminine. This is for the ecstatic woman who wants to have a mind-blowing life that scares the crap out of them to get there and is willing to put in the work to get there. The Shakti activation does shake up your life. And those of you that have worked with me one-on-one know this. We don't get the results that we desire without having things shaken up for us. And some of us are meant to live that, and some of us maybe aren't, right? But the Shakti medicine impacts so many around us. And I will say, from having a very Shaktified mother, that, you know, when she passed, it had a big impact on people. She touched people and she activated people and she awakened people just by her presence. And that's something that has unfortunately not been valued or not had words for in the past. And so my hope is to make more Shakti activators in the community, to have women that change people and activate people and awaken people just simply by being, just simply by living, just simply by shining, just simply by radiating their life force into the world. But we don't get to that place unless first we're in touch with our desires and what we want. Second, we're in touch with our chi and our energy and what really fires up, ignites us, activates us, and keeps us energized. 3, we're able and willing to confront our demons. We all have them, and each new level has a new devil. And 4, we're able to do the integrative work. We're able to really ask the tough questions of ourselves. We're able to walk our talk and stand in our truth. And whatever number I'm on, ecstasy. We are okay being ecstatic women, because here's the thing. Some people, and I know some people in my community still, they've said this to me, like when they hear that, they're like, I don't want to do ecstatic things. I don't want to be an ecstatic woman. And I'm like, here's what being an ecstatic woman is to me. It is that idea of the same thing with Tantra. It is making love to the moment. It's being open and receptive to I was just going to say the juice, which I don't know why, but like the juice of the universe. Like we live in a blissful place on a blissful planet with things blooming and animals and birds chirping. Like it is ecstatic. Being alive is ecstatic. And so for those of us that know that and can take all the societal conditioning out of the word ecstatic, especially ecstatic woman, when you can destigmatize it and when you can decondition and realign with what it truly means, that's when everything shifts. So if you're here for it, you can type it in the chat and let me know. I'm really excited to spend these next 3 days with you, and I want to really quickly just end with a short meditation. But if you have any questions or any comments, please type them into the chat and I can answer them later too. You know, I didn't talk about one thing that I wanted to talk about. Okay, well, let's just really quickly touch on illumination, because that is what I wanted to really focus on for today. And I'm like, did I focus on it enough? I don't think so. So hi, if you're just joining, type your name in the chat, say hello if you want. So I love this quote. It's Bob Proctor quote. It says, "Imagination is my favorite nation." And I love that quote. And I also love illumination is, yes, here for it. Illumination is my favorite nation. I think both those are a great place to be. And what this is really about, right? Our imagination is being able to be in a place of desire. So if we can imagine something, and imagination is using our creativity to create a picture or a story that we want to see in the world, right? Worry is using our picture in our mind's eye to create a story we don't want to have happen. And we can waste a lot of energy there. So with imagination, it's using that to create that vision, right? To create that story that we want to see. And illumination is being able to shine that light of presence and awareness onto the corners of our mind that have maybe been in the dark or keeping us in a state of belief that is not serving this imagination, that is not serving this desire. So in order to be in alignment with our imagination, we have to be willing to do the illumination work to identify and be aware of what might be hindering us. And so again, this is the work that we do one-on-one, is going into the Akashic, going into the records, going into the body, the somatic work, to see where these things are living that are keeping you from being in alignment with your desire, keeping you from being in a state of solidity and stability, masculine, with our desire, feminine. So this illumination is really, to me, it's a masculine thing. I think of the idea of penetration as, right, it's a masculine thing, like penetrating. And for ourselves, it's like the great penis in the sky, going in and penetrating the deeper subconscious mind and being able to light things up, hit certain points and be like, ding, ding, ding. So that's illumination. And we really want to be in touch with our masculine and feminine to do this. If we're not receptive to that, like how many times have I worked with someone and I say something or I ask, let's get curious about this thing. And they're like, no, right? Armor, walling up. I'm walling up to even myself, right? Like, because it's not something that we're cognizant or aware of. But even the no is a state of closing off to the energy. Whereas the curiosity thing and to always ask yourself is, if this were true, right? Like, if this were true, where would I feel it? If this were true, what would it be? You know, and just really being in that state of curiosity with ourselves to not always shut the door on something. And so yes is a very expansive quality. No is a very closing down quality. Oftentimes when we ask people to feel what a feeling of yes feels like in the body, it's an opening, and the state of no is a closing down, right? And so we have to be able to receive the penetration, to be in that illumination, to be lighting things up and being aware of things have been on the unconscious, keeping us or holding us back from our desires. So that's what I wanted to say about illumination. I couldn't get along without talking about the big penis needing to penetrate our minds, right? All right, let's do a little quick meditation. Get into a comfortable seated position. Take a few deep breaths. I like to place my hands on my belly, or you can place your hands on your heart and your belly, or both on your heart. Just take a few deep cleansing breaths here. With the inhale, breathing in fresh new energy for this lunar cycle, for this day, for this week. With the exhale, releasing any tension from the body, from your shoulders, from your neck. And with the inhale, breathing in fresh new energy. Below your feet, I want you to imagine beautiful, strong roots that are going deep, 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 deep into the earth, grounding you, stabilizing you. They're going so deep into the earth that they reach the core of the earth. This magnum, this lava, this heat, this chi, this pure, purifying energy, straight from source, this chi. So just let this pure energy come up through your legs and into your low belly. I want you to imagine this lava just purifying your whole lower half, your feet, your legs, the back of your legs, the front of your legs, your hips, your perineum, your yoni, your bottom. Just allow this pure positive energy that's clarifying and clearing out any stagnation, any resistance, anything that's not serving your highest good. And then let that energy come up into your low back, into your womb space, into your low belly, and let it purify anything from your womb space that is not serving your highest good, anything from your low back that you are holding on to from a past time. Let this lava purify and clear and re-energize this area with pure positive energy. Bringing this lava energy up to your third chakra and your high belly, your diaphragm, your high back, your mid back, your whole spine. Let it be bathed in this pure positive lava, warming, energizing chi for just pure creativity, creative power, abundant health. Let it wash up through your heart space, through your lungs, through your shoulders, through your arms, through your high back and your wings, through your shoulder blades. Let this lava come through and purify. Any old stagnant energy goes now, and it's filling in with this positive, uplifting Shakti energy. moving this beautiful lava Shakti energy through your throat, the back of your throat, your jaw, your ears, your teeth, your tonsils. Just let it wash through this lava energy, purifying, clearing, making space for new, honest and true energy to move through that is dynamic, that is fun, that is easy to express. Moving this Shakti energy up through your face, through your forehead, through your eyes, through your third eye, through the back of your head. Bathing in this beautiful lava energy, purifying any old stagnant energy, restoring your energy back to a state of bliss, ecstasy, love, vision, truth. Bringing this lava energy up through your crown and the top of your head, through the top of your head. And you're just gonna let it spray out just like a volcano, letting it wash down through and back down the front and the back of you, letting yourself bathe in this beautiful lava flow of pure positive potential, creative power, abundant health for your week, for your year, for the rest of your life, knowing that you can tap into this positive, fulfilling energy at any time. Giving thanks to Shakti, giving thanks to yourself, giving thanks to each other for being here. You can blink your eyes open. And I hope you get a chance to check out the worksheets from today. I would love to hear an introduction if you want to post in our group. You can make a new post and introduce yourself. Let us know where and how you're activating Shakti in your life through this training. Have a beautiful day, and don't miss out on the special, very, very special offer for today. It's only for today, and it's in your workbook on the last page. It is 6-month coaching container with me, includes all access to all of my courses and the Get Shaktified group mastermind that I'll be doing starting in August. And there's a special offer for that that goes till June 13th. So you have a little bit more time for that one. 8 spots are available for the group mastermind. I hope to see you in there, and I love you all. Take good care of yourselves. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.